my salvation. Jehovah, great I am. Only I'll be around to serve. Only I'll be around to serve. My bandindi, a Johnny Cobia. Only Tabia. Jehovah, great I am. Only Obiara to say. Only Obiara to say. Na bandindi, ni Johnny Cobia. Only Tabia. Jehovah, great I am. You are my strong tower that I run to. My presence is in time of need. You are my rock. You are my life. Good morning, greetings wherever you might find yourself. We are going to soak in the music a little bit as we always do it. You are the great I am. Only now, only Obiara to show. Only now, only Obiara to show. Abandoned, we Johnny Cobia. Only Tabia. Jehovah, you are the great I am. Greetings wherever you might find yourself. Share for us when you get on here as we soak in the music a little bit. You are so welcome. It is a dose of encouragement with Amanda. You are welcome as I share on our other pages as well. Jehovah, great I am. Only Obiara to serve. Only Obiara to serve. My band in the Johnny Cobia. We will start in 2 minutes. Jehovah, the great I am. Greetings, 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 wherever you might find yourself. We'll start in 2 minutes. Thanks for joining. When you get on here, please share to bring somebody on. Please share to be a blessing to somebody. Jehovah, the great I am. You are my strong tower that I run to. My presence help. Greetings, 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 greetings. It is another beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you all for the support. Thank you for always supporting us. Please share to bring somebody on. Thank you all for the support. Thank you so much. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement with Amanda. It is another beautiful Saturday morning, and as we always do it, we soak in the music a little bit before we start. It is 7:05 a.m. this morning in US, and it is 11 a.m. or 11:05 GMT time. So you are so welcome. You are so welcome. Thank you all for the support. When you get on here, share to bring somebody on. As I said, I am your girl, Amanda, and we appreciate the support so much. So as we can all see, today's topic is forgiveness. Forgiveness, and that's forgiveness means reconciliation. Forgiveness. And somebody will ask me, forgiveness? Yes, forgiveness. Forgive others not because they deserve it. Forgive others because you deserve that peace. Forgive others because you want to unhook yourself from that person that offended you. Forgive not because you don't have anything to do with your time, as people will have it, or as people will say it. Thank you all for joining. If you come on here, please share to bring somebody on. And today is an open platform. You can request to come on to share your views on the topic that we'll be discussing here. But don't be bound to someone or to condition of emotions because you do not want to forgive. Don't be bound to somebody or to emotional conditions because you don't want to forgive, because you are holding on to that resentment. Let's forgive one another. It is only then that you would have some peace of mind. It is only then that you would be happy inwardly and outwardly. Forgive. Let forgiveness be your attribute and not your weakness. Let forgiveness be your attribute and not your weakness. Because you chose not to forgive, because you chose to hold on to that anger, because you chose to hold on to that pain, you always thinking about that particular thing. You always thinking about that issue. You always thinking about the fact that this person did this to me. Forgive. You will know that forgiveness has started when you can think about that incident and that person and yet wish them well. Forgive. As I said, don't be bound to an emotion. Thank you for joining, my sister. I can see you on here, baby. Please share to bring others on. You are welcome to a dose of encouragement with Amanda. But don't be bound to somebody or to an emotional condition because you do not want to forgive, because you want to hold on to that, because you feel like, oh, this person did this, and so I will not forgive that person today or tomorrow. But then we go on and we ask, that forgiveness means reconciliation. You have to let go. As I said, you will know forgiveness has started when you can think about that issue, when you can think about that person and say to yourself, oh, I wish that wherever that person is, he or she is doing well. You have to forgive because you want to unhook yourself from that offender, not because you want to unhook the offender from you. They offended you. They can choose to hold on to whatever they want to hold on to. But for your sake, for your peace, for your inner peace, for your peace of mind, forgive. Forgive because not because you want to set yourself ablaze, that everybody will think that, oh, if I offend this person, he or she will forgive me, so I'm always going to. No, forgive because you want that peace of mind. Let forgiveness be an attribute, not your weakness. Don't be bound to that person because they offended you. And you ask me, Amanda, how am I bounding myself to that person? You are bounding yourself to that person because you are holding on to that hurt. You are bounding yourself to that person because you are holding on to that thing that they said to you. You are bounding yourself to that person because you are not letting go. Forgive. Forgive. Let it go. Don't say that I will not forgive this person. Let it go. Let it go. What are you holding on to? What did somebody do to you that you've been hurt so much that you don't want to let go? It takes a stronger person to forgive. It takes a stronger person to say that, yes, you did this. Yes, you've done that. And I am going to let it go. It takes a stronger person. So be that stronger person. Let it go. Don't be bound to them. Don't be bound to that emotion. Don't be bound to that hurt. Don't be bound to that trauma. Let it go. But that's forgiveness really means reconciliation, though. That's forgiveness means reconciliation. Forgiveness might not mean reconciliation. Because as I said, reconciliation is actually the last thing or the last step in forgiveness. So as far as the people are willing to amend that relationship, then yes, it can start. As long as they are willing to put that differences aside to move on, yeah, then yes, it can start. But before we go into that, what happens when we forgive anyway? What happens when we let go? What happens when we say to ourselves that I am hurt, but I am going to forgive. I am hurt, but I am not going to hold on to it. I am hurt, but I am, for the sake of peace, for my own self, I will forgive. When we forgive, we practice empathy. Empathy in the sense of looking at the situation from the other person's angle, asking ourselves, why did this person do this? Why did this person say this? Why did this person, what made that person behave in such a manner? That is, we see in the situation from that person's point of view. That is, we practice an empathy right there. 1 second as I reduce this. That is, we practice an empathy right there. So forgive. Ask yourself, why did that person do that? Why did that person behave that way? What is making them behave in such a manner? Try to find out what exactly is happening. As I said, forgive not because you want to unhook yourself or you want to unhook the offender from you, but forgive because you want to unhook yourself from the offender. For your own sanity's sake, for your own peace of mind, for your own good health, forgive. But then again, when we forgive, we practice empathy. When we forgive, we sit down and look into the situation of why that person behaved the way they behaved. When we forgive, we reflect on the times that we ourselves hurt somebody. And what that person did, was that person able to forgive us? Was that person able to unhook themselves from us? Was that person had empathy on us and forgive us and forgave us? Sorry. These are some of the things that happen when we forgive. We practice empathy. We ask why that person, why that situation happened. We reflect on the times that we ourselves were the offenders. So forgive. Not because you just want to be done with that person. If that relationship needs to be repaired, you have to take all the necessary steps in order to do that. But then again, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. Forgiveness is a process. You can't just get up and say, I have forgiven you, and then that's it. It is a process. You have to follow process. You have to follow the steps in order to clear your mind of everything and anything. But does forgiveness really mean reconciliation, though? Thank you for joining. Put your comment down below. Does forgiveness really means reconciliation, though? It doesn't. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. They are two separate things. Forgiveness is when you say that, yes, I am going to let go. But as to when your relationship with that person gets repaired is a whole different thing. Somebody might just want to forgive and move on. Move on from you. Move on from the situation. Move on from anything and everything that got to do with you. As I said, let forgiveness be your strongest suit. Let forgiveness be your attribute and not your weakness. You've forgiven that person that offended you for your own sake. But then you ask yourself, how am I going to move from here to that part? How am I going to move from here to the next stage? How am I going to move from here to the other side of the road? Letting yourself go. As I said, reconciliation is the last step. And the steps in forgiveness start with you acknowledging the problem. Acknowledge that you are hurt. Acknowledge that somebody did something to you. Acknowledge that, if you have to scream, scream. But acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that hurt. Acknowledge that pain. That is the first step in forgiveness. You can be somebody who will say, you numb to the situation. You cannot be numb to the situations at all times. You got to acknowledge it at some point. You got to feel that hurt at some point. It's the same thing as the grieving process. You got to acknowledge it. Acknowledge I am hurt. Acknowledge that this person said this, that, and that to me. Acknowledge it. Most of the times we don't do that. Most of the times we don't accept the fact that I am hurt. Excuse me. We don't. But you got to acknowledge the fact that you are hurt. And then the second thing is you got to consider how that hurt is affecting you. Think it through. Before you making that decision, think it through. Consider, what decision am I going to make from this incident? I am hurt. I've acknowledged it. That is the first step in forgiveness. The second thing is you considering. Think it through. Before you make that decision about forgiving that person, think it through. What will be the positive side of me considering to forgive that person? What would be the outcome of me trying to forgive that person? Consider it. Think it through. What will be? Why do I have to forgive? Why do I have to let this person off the radar? Consider all these things. You considering it doesn't mean that you don't want to forgive. No, it's not that. But you considering it means that there is a chance, there is a process that you gotta go through. So consider it. The third thing will mean you accepting the fact that what has happened has happened. You cannot change it. You cannot change it. You cannot turn the hands of time. Accept that you cannot change what happened in the past. No matter how you want to, you cannot change it. Whatever was said has been said. Whatever was done has been done. You cannot change it. So accept it. So you acknowledge it, you consider it, and now you have to accept it. You have to accept that it has happened. Don't be in denial. Do not be in denial. Accept the fact that it has happened. And sometimes you really need to sit down and do some really deep thinking. As I said, acknowledge it. Why did this person do this? Why? What at all will make that person do that? That is you practicing empathy right there. What at all would make this person say what thing that they said? It might be because of something, and that is not justifying the reason for them doing what they did. But it might be something that made them say what they said, something that made them do what they did, something that made them act the way they did. Acknowledge it. Consider it. Is it worth it to forgive this person? And once you are doing that, ask yourself, the last time that I did this to that person, what did that person do? The last time that I offended this person, was I forgiven? The last time that I said something wrong to that person, was that person able to forgive me? Consider it. Think through every decision. Think it through. Was I forgiven when the table was turned? When I was the offender and I offended somebody else? That is empathy right there. Think it through. And consider it. If I forgive that person, what will be the benefit? If I let go of this situation, what will be the outcome? If I let go of that incident, what will happen? You heal. You heal from that hurt. That is what will happen. You heal from that. So you have acknowledged it, you have considered it, and now you are accepting the fact that it has happened. Even when I try to change the hands of time, it will not. Even when I try to push back everything to go to the beginning of that incident, it will still not change the fact that that thing was said. It will still not change the fact that that thing was done. It will still not change the fact that that person behaved that way. So accept the fact. Accept the fact. And now you come to the process of you determined to let go. Figure out what the strategy is. Figure out how you are going to do that. Figure out if you choose to forgive, great. If not, great. So figure out, determine what you are going to do. Determine if you are going to let go. Determine if you want to sit in that hurt. Determine if you want to sit in that bondage of being hurt from that thing that that person said, of being hurt from that action from that person. Determine. Does forgiveness mean reconciliation? No. You have to go through all these stages in order to get to that part. So if we are just forgiven and not taking time to go through all this and not taking time to think through this process, and we think that, oh, because I said I have forgiven that person, that relationship can be repaired, or because that person said I am forgiven, that relationship can be repaired, then you got to think twice. Because maybe that person is one of those people that would have to take their time in order to get to that part of reconciliation, repairing that relationship back, repairing that friendship back, repairing that closeness back. Some people, it takes them time. Some people too, it's right instant. They just let go, and then everything is back to normal, and they want to take things from where the last stop of where things were good. If you are that person, great. But if you are the other person that needs time to think it through, then do it. Because as I said, you have to follow the steps of forgiveness in order to get to reconciliation. Acknowledge it, consider it, accept it, and now you determine what I have to let go. And as I said, when we practice forgiveness, when we forgive somebody, we practice empathy. Empathy in the sense that we step in and we look at the situation. We look at what made that person said what they said. We look at the situation and ask ourselves what made that person behave the way they did. So I have acknowledged it. I have accepted it, or I acknowledged it. I have considered it. I have accepted it. Now it is time for me to determine if I want to let go. It is time for me to determine how I am going to let go. It is time for me to determine what will make me let go, what will make me forgive, what will make me say, okay, enough is enough. Bygones is bygones. Forgive and forget. This is where forgive and forget comes in. So forgive, not because you want to unhook yourself from that person. Forgive for your own sanity. Forgive for your own peace. Forgive because you were once in that situation. You were once the offender. You cannot say that, oh, me, I'm always doing things right. No human being is perfect. No human being is 100% perfect. We all have days that we mess up. We all have times that we mess up. We all have times that we say something without we even thinking about it, and we offend that person. So we cannot say that somebody offended me and I cannot forgive. We cannot say that somebody said this thing to me and I cannot let it go. Let's forgive. Let forgiveness be our stronger suit. As I said, let's follow the steps in forgiveness. So now we are at the determining stage. Am I going to let go? Or am I going to hold on to this grudge? Am I going to let go? Or I'm going to say, I'm going to stretch. Sometimes we Africans, we use the word of, I'm going to stretch this person small. Is that the stage you are at? We all have done it before. I'm not even going to sit here and fret that, oh, I haven't done something before. We all have done it before. We all have been there before. Where somebody offends us and then we like, oh, this person, make sure who said, I will show this person Pepe. I will stretch this person small. We've all been there before. I will let this person feel the heat a little bit. We've all been there before. But are we learning? Is life a learning process? Yes. My sister is on here. She can tell you. We've all been there before. Be like me. I will stretch this person a little bit. Even though you know that you have to let go. But then you want to stretch the person a little bit for them to feel the heat, for them to feel that, hey, they cannot just offend you and go scot-free. But listen, we got to follow the steps in forgiveness in order to get to reconciliation. So I have acknowledged the fact that I am hurt. I have considered what it will mean for me to let go, what it will mean for me to forgive, what it will mean for me to say hands down. I just want to let this thing go. Now I have to consider how that pain affects me. Now I have to consider how that pain makes me feel. Now I have to consider. My sister says that's the part of life, my dear. Yes. Now I have to consider what it will mean if I let go. How am I feeling from that hurt? How is that person's words making me feel? How is that person's action making me feel? How is that person's action, making me feel? What is that level of anger do I have or am I feeling right now? Thank you for joining, Mami Araba. Thank you so much. Please share to bring somebody on. As I said, today is open forum. You can request to come on to share your views on the topic forgiveness, and does forgiveness really mean reconciliation? So I have to consider now, how am I hurt? Or how is this words hurting me? How deep is the hurt? And then I have to accept it. Accept that you cannot change it. Accept that even if you try to change the hands of time, things will not go back to the same way things were before that person said what they said, or before that person did what they did. Accept it. Feel the change. Feel the anger if you have to. Don't suppress it. If you have to voice out your rage, do it. But not doing it to the person, because when you do that, you might end up saying things to that person that you will regret, or you don't mean to say, and then at the end of the day, you will regret it. But feel that anger. Feel that hurt. That is you accepting the fact that, yes, I'm hurt. Because sometimes, we human beings have the tendency of covering things up or suppressing our emotions. And I'll be like, oh, it's all right, it's okay. We have the tendency of suppressing our emotions. We have the tendency of saying that, oh, it will be fine. It should be all right. Or it will be all right. I'm not even going to bother myself about it. It will be all right. We have the tendency of doing that. We have the tendency of doing that. But in doing so, we don't see the full potential of our ability to go further. In doing so, we don't see how best we can sort out the situation. So accept it. Accept the fact that I am hurt, and don't suppress that feeling. Don't suppress it at all. Now you got to determine, how am I going to let go? You got to determine, do I choose to let go, or do I choose to hold on? This is where the determination comes in. You are getting closer to reconciliation. Determination. What part of the ladder am I going to take? What part of the equation am I going to take? Am I going to hold on to it? Am I going to let go? Am I going to forgive? Hold on to it. Fine. That is you. Let go of it and forgive and repair the relationship. Fine. If you choose that part, that you want to let go, if you've determined that now I want to let go, if you determine that now, oh, I was once in that situation, I was once the offender in a situation, ask yourself, what did that person do when I offended him or her? Did that person forgive me? Was that person able to forgive me? Was that person able to let go? Sometimes you got to put yourself in the situation in order to take the best decision, if I can put it that way. So determine, how am I going to do this? If I were to be in that situation where I am the offender, where I am the one that said something wrong, where I am the one that said the worst thing ever, was the person able to forgive me? Was the person able to circle around and come back for us to repair the relationship that we had before that incident? Were you able to be forgiven? That is the question you have to ask yourself at this stage, the determined stage. That is the question we got to ask ourselves. So now we've determined that we're going to let go. Now it is the time to repair and reconcile. Repair and reconcile. This is where we do everything and anything possible in our human ability to make sure that we repair that relationship. It might not go back to the pre-incident state, but at least you'll be able to get to a place where the two of you can coexist. You'll be able to get to a place where the two of you can talk and laugh. You'll be able to go to a place where that person's pain will still be your pain, where the place, the portion where whatever that person is going through, you feel it too. That is you reconciling and you repairing. So we realize that forgiveness itself is not reconciliation. It takes a lot more in order to get to the reconciliation part. It takes much effort. It takes work. It takes much work. It takes inner work in order to get to the reconciliation part. But in also, it starts with forgiveness. It starts with the fact that we acknowledge it. Excuse me. It starts with the fact that we acknowledge that somebody did something wrong to us. It starts with the fact that we acknowledge that, yes, I am hurt. It starts with the fact that we want to unhook ourselves from the offender, not the other way around. It starts with the fact that we do not want to be bound to that emotion. We do not want to be bound to that hurt. We do not want to be bound to that anger. That is where it starts. It starts by you acknowledging that I am hurt, but I am going to forgive. It starts with you acknowledging that, oh, maybe that person did what he or she did because of something. Let me sit back. Let me take time and find out why that person did that. Let me take time and find out what is actually happening to that person that made that person say what they said. What is actually happening to that person that made them act the way they did. It takes that much to go through every step of reconciliation. When you research, some people will say there are 9 steps in reconciliation. Some people will say there are 7 steps in reconciliation. Some people will say, oh, there are 4. It all boils down to the steps that are important to you. Are you acknowledging the fact that you are hurt? Are you considering what it will mean to you when you let go? Are you accepting the fact that, yes, this thing happened and I cannot change anything before this incident? Are you determined that forgiving and letting go, forgiving and repairing will be to your own good? Are you considering that you determine that I need to let go, I need to forgive and reconcile with that person? Doesn't mean that I have to be in the same space with that person, but it will mean that I should be able to think about that person and wish them well wherever they are. How is your forgiveness journey like? Or what is your forgiveness journey like? Let me put it that way. What is your forgiveness journey like? Welcome, Natalie. Thanks for joining. Please share to bring somebody on. And as I said, today is open forum. You can put your comment down below, or you can request to come on to share your views on the topic. So are you taking time to go through that step in considering that, yes, if I said I have forgiven that person, then I should be able to go through that steps in order to get to the reconciliation part. And as I said, reconciling with that person doesn't mean that you have to sit there and eat in the same bowl with that person. Doesn't mean that, that relationship might go back to where it was before, but it means that you are able to sit there and think about that person and say that, oh, I wish them well. Oh, I hope that wherever they are or whatever they're doing, everything is going well with them. And you now wishing them evil. And you now wishing them evil. As I said, sometimes when we forgive, we practice empathy. Empathy in the sense that I keep saying that you might have been the offender in some situations. Ask yourself, was I able to be forgiven by that person that I offended? Was the relationship back to where it was before I offended that person? And if the answer to these two questions are yes, who are you not to practice same for that person that hurt you? Who are you not to practice the same for that fellow that says something wrong? You might not know what might have resulted or what made them say what they had to say. Not what do you call it? Saying that they offended you was right in any way. No. Not saying that what they said or what they did to you was right. No. That is not what we're saying here. But you putting yourself in their shoe and ask them, let me sit down and think for a minute. Why did that person do that? What is making them do that? Ask yourself, reflect on, as I said, reflect on the time where you were the offender, where the tables were turned. Being able to forgive and getting to the point of reconciliation might take time for you, but it is necessary for you to act on those steps. It is necessary for you to be like, I want to be able to get to a place, a better place for myself. I want to be able to get to a better place for my sanity. I want to be able to get to a better place, even if I don't end up having that same pre-relationship with that person before that incident happened. At least I am able to let go. I am able to now wish that person evil. I am able to feel the pain for that person if they are going through something that need your assistance. I am able to put all differences aside and run to that person's rescue when they need you. That is you reconciling with them. That is you going through that forgiveness steps and you get into the place where you've repaired that relationship. Forgive because, as I said, you want to have your peace of mind. Forgive because you do not want to be bound to that hurt. You do not want to be bound to that anger. You do not want to be bound to that emotions. You do not want to be a slave to that anger. Don't be a slave to your anger. Forgive because you want to unhook yourself from that situation. Forgive because when you do, it makes you a stronger person. You not forgiving makes you a weaker person. It gets tiring about holding on to that. True, Natalie, it does. Meanwhile, that person is just walking about, gallivanting here and there, doing what they have to do. And I was saying, Natalie, you know what? I was saying earlier on that there were times we've all practiced, we've all been to the stage where we're like, oh, this person has offended me. I'm going to hold on to it a little bit. In our local dialect, we said, I'm going to stretch this person a little. We've all been there. But at the end of the day, was that worth it? Was that really necessary, or was that necessary for us to be like, oh, we know we will forgive at the end of the day, but we really want to make that person feel the kind of heat that we can give when they offend us? We've all been there before, and it did not help us, because we realized that we end up bottling so much hurt. We end up battling so much pain. We end up battling so much emotions that the person will be walking around freely. But then when you see the person coming out, you get upset. It's like the mere fact that you see them makes your blood pressure goes up. Is that worth it? Is that worth your life? Is that worth your health? Is that worth your mental capacity? It doesn't. It doesn't. That is why we have to practice forgiveness. That is why we have to go through the steps in order to get to the place where we can coexist, the place where we can see that person and say to ourselves, even if we don't have to say it to them openly, but inwardly we say to ourselves that, oh, I wish them well and I hope they are doing well. Yes, it's a whole mood change. You see them and you upset for no reason. Meanwhile, they've come to say sorry to you, and you said it's okay to them. So they have forgotten about the issue and they're going on with their lives. But you are there and getting high blood pressure every time you see them. You are there getting headaches every time you scroll through your phone and then you see their number. You go shoo, and then you go. You are causing more harm to yourself than that person that even offended you. We got to practice forgiveness and let go. We got to go through the steps and get to a place that we can coexist. Get to a place that we can feel safe being in the same space with them. We can feel okay hearing their name. We can feel okay seeing anything about them and wishing that whatever they're going through, they're doing well. It's not worth it. It's not worth your mental health. It's not worth your time, your emotions, your peace. It's not. So we are going to practice these things. Yes, we might, maybe we might have said, or we have said that we've forgiven somebody. When I was researching this and then trying to get ready for this session, there were so many things that I started thinking about. And I'm like, oh, this thing that all these topics or these points that I am writing, I can sit down and say that indeed, yes, we all say that we have forgiven people, but some way, somehow, we did hold on, or sometime along the line we did hold on to certain things, even though we said we have forgiven that person. Yes, Araba says forgiveness is maturity. Yes, it is. Forgiveness is indeed maturity. It is. So we are going to acknowledge the fact that we are hurt. We are going to consider the fact that what will be the benefit when we decide to let go. We are going to accept that even everything and anything that we do, we will not be able to change the situations back to where it was before. And we are going to determine that if we let go, what exactly will it mean to us? And as I said, I named a few. Add yours to it. Your peace of mind, your mental health, your growth. And this is where the repairing comes in. This is where the repairing comes in. So this week, we are going to practice these things. As I said, on this platform is we all come here, learn from each other. I might not know everything. I learn from you all as well. So we are going to practice these things and work towards getting to reconciliation and not just stopping at the forefront of just saying that we have forgiven with our lips and then that's it. Because we want to be able to sleep well at night, if I can put it that way. We want to be able to see that person and still be happy. We want to be able to see that person going through something and lend a hand if we can in that situation. So until I come your way again, thank you all so much for joining me today. It is a dose of encouragement with Amanda. I come your way every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard, 11 a.m. GMT time. And if you haven't followed us yet, please do. And don't ever miss the last weekend of the month with a time with the prophet. And to also say on the 18th, we might be having Reverend Isiedu, Rashida Isiedu on here as our guest. So make a date with us. But don't wait till the 18th before you join. Follow us on doseofencouragement.com on our website. And also, if you haven't followed us on Facebook, please do Dose of Encouragement with Amanda. Thank you all so much. As I always say, as you've supported us, may God support you. May God answer you in time of need. May God answer you even when you haven't asked for it. Keep us along. Keep sharing to all platforms to bless others, because somebody, you might not need it, but somebody else somewhere needs it. So let's share. Let's continue with the discussion, because I know we might not have all the points here that you want to put here, but when you go through the day, do think of the topic, and then if you remember, let's keep the conversation going. Let's not just keep it ended here. Let's keep Doreen, I see you on here. Thank you so much for always joining us. As I was saying, let's keep the comment coming. Let's keep the conversation going. Again, forgiveness, and that's forgiveness means reconciliation. I will say no. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness only means reconciliation when you go through the proper steps, when you go through the proper channels, when you go through the proper stages to get to where you determine, and then the last stage where you would consider repairing and reconciling. So we just saying, I have forgiven you, and leaving it at that and still holding on to that grudge is not good. It's not reconciliation. Most of the times we think that when we say we have forgiven, it means that everything should go back to the way it is. No, it doesn't always mean. Yes, if you one of those people that when I say I have forgiven you, it means that we can go back to where we were before, then great. But if you're not, then you have to go through the steps of acknowledging, considering, accepting, determine, and then repairing that relationship. So thank you all so much. God bless you too, Natalie. Thank you all so much. And as I said last week, let us know what other topics you would want us to bring up here, that we can all get involved in it. And until I see you again next week, I am Amanda Akufi-Aye. And thank you all for the support. My team, thank you for the support that you've been showing, Mr. Akufi-Aye, wherever you are. Thank you for the support. And if you on here and you feel like you can help push this vision to its destination, you are more than welcome to join the team. Once again, thank you. And this is a dose of encouragement with Amanda. I sign out. Have a blissful Saturday. Have a blissful week ahead. And let's meet on the page. Bye for now.